Hello, beautiful magnetic wives, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to this video that is all about respect and specifically how to respect your husband when you don't feel like it. In other words, when you feel like he doesn't deserve it or he hasn't earned it or it just feels incredibly hard. Um, if you're new to the intimacy skills and you're already icked out by that introduction and the title, I want to invite you to bear with me for a second and have an open mind because this is really, really powerful. And believe me, I had that initial reaction back 11, almost 12 years ago when I first heard about this. I was like, ugh, no, if he wants my respect, he's got to earn it. But so bear with me, give it a chance. Okay, so let's be honest, the word respect can feel really, really loaded, right? So for many of us wives, it can bring up thoughts of being quiet when we want to scream, or it can feel like I'm saying that you should be letting things slide that feel unfair. Or it might even sound like we're supposed to swallow our feelings and pretend that we're fine when we're not, right? So no wonder it feels impossible to figure out how to respect your husband when you don't feel like it. So I want to talk about what I mean by the word respect. So respect isn't about agreeing with everything that he says and ignoring your own needs, your own limits and desires. It's not about that at all. It's about choosing to treat your husband with dignity, even when you're feeling hurt or disappointed, because for a couple of reasons. The first being that that's the only space where connection can truly grow. But also, sometimes the word respect makes me think a little bit of the saying, how people say love isn't a feeling, it's an action. And I do think it's actually both. It's a feeling and it's an action, right? And I think when we choose to act with love, then the feeling of love can grow, right? We can cultivate it. And I think similarly, it's the same with respect. Respect, I believe, is a feeling, but it doesn't stop there. It's also an action. And sometimes we can lead with the action of respect, even if we're not feeling it, and that can cultivate the feeling of respect. And so in this case, it can feel difficult when how you feel is in misalignment, maybe with how you want to show up. And so that's really what I want to get into today because this is layered and it can feel really complex. Um, so I want to start with a secret that I learned years ago when I first learned the intimacy skills that really made all the difference. And it's this: men crave respect the way women crave love. And the two things are very intertwined, right? I mean, as women, we crave respect as well. Um, but I heard it said like this once, and it made a lot of sense to me that, uh, how as humans, right, we can live much longer. I think it's about 2 weeks without food. We can survive about 2 weeks without food, but we can only survive 3 days without water. I'm not 100% sure if it's 2 weeks. I think it is. 2 weeks without food, 3 days without water. And so respect is like water to a man, and love is like water to a woman. So we need both. We need both. Um, but we crave more deeply one over the other. And so, but both are essential, of course. So when your husband feels respected, he feels safe, valued, and capable. It's like emotional oxygen to him. And without it, he shuts down, withdraws, or gets defensive, not because he doesn't care, but because he feels rejected at his core. And so when we're feeling angry, it's really easy to forget that our words, tone, and energy hold a lot of power. Even the small things, such as correcting him, rolling our eyes, or questioning his decisions, can feel like a criticism to him. And the more that we do those types of things, the smaller he feels and the more distant the marriage becomes. Respect, on the other hand, invites him to rise. It says, I trust you. I believe in you. And when a man feels trusted and believed in, he naturally wants to show up as his best self. So, learning how to respect your husband, even when you don't feel like it, it's not about being fake. It's about creating emotional safety so that both of you can soften into a soft place to land, which is your marriage. And so when you lead with respect, you give your marriage the space that it needs to breathe again, to feel alive again. So let's get into how in everyday life you can respect your husband even when you don't feel like it. So, first of all, you're not alone if you've ever been like, okay, I understand that respect is like oxygen to a man. I want to improve my marriage, so I'm with you up to there. But I just genuinely don't see anything in him that's worthy of respect, right? So you're not alone, and that can be really painful. So when you're running on empty, or when your husband's behavior triggers frustration or disappointment in you, even the idea of showing up with respect can feel like an Olympic sport. And so learning how to respect your husband when you don't feel like it, but in a way that's actually going to align with your feelings, because I don't know, doing things when you feel the total opposite can be really exhausting, right? It can feel like putting up an act. And so really what I want to talk about here is how to align how you feel so that respect feels more natural, more genuine, and real. So that you're not just feeling like you're pretending and going through the motions, but you're in integrity with how you feel and how you show up. So it's about giving yourself the inner support and perspective that makes respect feel possible again, right? The perspective, so that it feels natural. So I'm going to go into 5 ways that you can do that. The first is so vital, and that is keeping your own cup full. So when your cup is empty, everything feels harder, especially patience and respect, because we hear it all the time. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you've been neglecting your own needs, overgiving, constantly sacrificing yourself for others, for your husband, for your kids, constantly walking on eggshells, then it's no wonder resentment creeps in. And so self-care is what allows you to show up as your best self in your marriage. When you're well rested, replenished, and grounded, it's so much easier to stay calm instead of reactive. You're less likely to take things personal and more likely to respond with grace. So before you start focusing on your husband, before we even get to him, ask yourself, what can I do today to make myself feel happy, relaxed, or beautiful? And this might be a walk, a nap, a good laugh, time with a friend, journaling, anything that fills your emotional tank. Number 2 is challenging your negative beliefs about him. Okay, so once your cup is full, and it's important to go in order, we don't want to try to do this when you're still totally depleted. So fill your cup first, and then number 2, challenging your negative beliefs about him. So if you've been silently repeating thoughts like, he's so lazy, he's irresponsible, he never listens, he's not romantic, right? Your brain is going to keep finding evidence to prove those beliefs, because that's just how our mind works. But here's the thing, you can flip that script. So I want to invite you to try turning each of those beliefs around to the opposite, and to look for even the tiniest bit of positive evidence to get the fuller picture. Because sometimes we can get so focused in on everything we can't stand about somebody that we're missing actually the fuller picture, the whole truth, the yeah, the bigger the bigger picture, right? So instead of he's so lazy, this is just an example, right? If that's been the negative limiting belief that you've had about him, he's so lazy, then it would sound like this. He's hardworking. And then you would start noticing the moments when he does put in effort, maybe at work or fixing something around the house or helping a friend. Another example could be he's so irresponsible, right? Then you would say he's capable, or he's responsible, right? And then you look for proof for that, even in small ways. So this isn't about pretending that he's perfect. It's about training your mind to see what's right instead of magnifying what's wrong. So you're building what Laura Doyle calls a positive spouse fulfilling prophecy. And so it's the belief that he's a good man who wants to make you happy. When you see that in him, he can feel it and he can start living up to it. And so, how our beliefs about somebody, our beliefs that we carry, really impact how we show up in that space. So, if my beliefs about my husband are all awful, then I'm going to show up. That's going to impact how I show up. And so, even if I'm saying all the right things on the surface that sound respectful, if I don't really feel that respect because I'm not even trying to see the good in him, then it's going to be really, really, really hard and really exhausting. Number three is to keep a daily gratitude journal. And this is specifically for him, for your husband. So, this one can sound really simple, but it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. So, each day you write down 10 things that you're grateful for about your husband. They can be big things or small. It can be something as small as he made you coffee, or he went to work, or he smiles at you this morning, right? And then you pick three things out of that list of 10 and you share them with him. It can be in person, by text, or in a note. When you express gratitude, it not only uplifts him, but it also softens you and it softens your heart towards him and your perspective. And it reminds your heart of the good that still exists in your marriage, even in harder seasons. And so over time, this daily habit can completely shift the emotional climate in your marriage because the more that you focus on what's working, the more of that you'll see. Number four is to let him be himself without criticizing or trying to control him. One of the hardest parts of learning respect is letting go of the urge to help. So you might mean well, maybe you just want him to be more productive, to eat better, or to parent differently. But even these subtle suggestions or corrections can sound like criticism to him. When you stop trying to guide, fix, or manage him, something beautiful happens. He can start to relax around you and he can feel trusted again. So, treating him like the capable man that you believed that he was when you chose him to be your husband, that's what it's all about. Remembering why you chose him in the first place, right? If he was so irresponsible and lazy and incompetent, I doubt you would have picked him to marry, right? So, let him handle things in his own way, even if it's different from how you do it. So, that doesn't mean that, again, it doesn't mean that you bottle everything up and just, yeah, suffer through it. It means that you respect his right to be himself, even if that means respecting his right to be wrong. And ironically, that's when he often becomes more open, more connected, more loving, more affectionate. Number five is to find the desire beneath your complaints. So every complaint that you have about anything, but we're going to keep it specifically here to husbands. Every complaint that you have about your husband is really a desire in disguise. So when you hear yourself thinking, he never helps me around the house, the deeper truth might be, I would love help around the house, right? Or I'd love to feel supported. When you think he's always on his phone, maybe what is the desire under there is, I would love to feel connected, or I miss him. I miss talking to him, right? And so by leading with the pure desire instead of the complaint, leaving the complaint out altogether, actually, when it comes to expressing yourself with your husband, right? So leading with that pure desire, without instructions, without expectations, without the complaint, it would sound something like this. I would love, followed by the end result of what you want. So, for example, back to the he never helps around here example, that would sound like this. I would love a tidy kitchen. No instructions on how and when he needs to do it, no expectations. It could literally look like he does get up and help you. Maybe he tells your teenager to get up and do the dishes. Maybe he hires help. It could look like anything, right? But this is about honoring your desires, honoring that you are worthy of having ease in your life. Another example could be, I would love to go to the movies, or I'd love to relax tonight and go to bed early. If and that's, let's say that you're a busy mom, usually you're in charge of all the bedtime routines and homework and all this stuff. So again, you're not saying, husband, um, it's on you. Bye, right? It's, I would love to relax tonight and go to bed early. And then he could, it's an invitation for him to be your hero here and provide something that you have stated is going to make you happy, right? So that's it. Simple, feminine, clear. So when you express your desires in this way, you're not controlling, you're inspiring. You're giving him the chance to please you, which is something that most husbands want to do, especially when they feel respected. So coming back to the word respect being potentially triggering, right? When you hear the word respect, it's easy to think of something that you give, something meant to make him feel good or to smooth things over. And yes, your husband does need it, just like he needs oxygen, right? We already talked about that. Respect communicates to him, I see you, I believe in you, you matter. It's oxygen to a man's heart. And when he feels respected, he can soften, open, and become more loving in return. But here's the part that most of us don't realize. Respect is also one of the most powerful gifts that you can give yourself. When you learn how to respect your husband, especially if you don't feel like it at first, you reclaim control over the one thing that you truly have control over, and that's you, right? Your energy, your experience. You're no longer reacting to his moods or his choices, you're responding from your own integrity. Choosing respect doesn't mean ignoring or silencing your voice. It means showing up as the woman that you're proud to be. Whether that means for you calm, gracious, rooted in self-respect, no matter what's happening around you. You are anchored into your values and the best version of yourself, the one that you're proud to be. And when you do that, your husband feels that shift because that's a big internal shift and it ripples out into your life, your relationships, and of course, your marriage. And then he feels seen, safe, and invited to rise. So the tone of your home starts to change. So, yes, respect blesses him, but it blesses you too. It restores your peace, protects your dignity, and reconnects you to your feminine strength. Because in the end, showing respect isn't about being perfect or pretending that everything's fine and there's no room to grow, right? It's about being powerful in the most graceful way possible. And that power transforms everything it touches. So respect can change your marriage and you. So let's review what we've covered. Respect is not about ignoring your feelings, your desires, your needs, your limits, none of that. It's about choosing dignity and calm. Keeping your own self-care cup full helps prevent resentment and makes respect a heck a lot more easy, a lot easier. Flipping the negative beliefs about your husband and looking for evidence for the positive. Keeping a daily gratitude journal specifically for him and sharing 3 things each day that you are grateful to him for. Letting him be himself without criticizing, controlling, or trying to fix or help him. Expressing desires, not complaints. So that sounds like saying, I would love, and focusing on the end result. And respect is a gift to both him and a gift to yourself, protecting your peace, restoring dignity, and inviting connection. So showing respect when you don't feel like it at first might feel challenging, but every step that you take shifts the energy in your marriage. It's not about pretending or giving in. It's about being your best self, maintaining integrity, and keeping a safe space for love to flourish. So if you're ready to take it a step further, and if you're new here, you don't have it already, I do have a free guide called 5 Steps to Reignite Connection in Your Marriage. You can find that linked in the description, and I invite you to download it. It's packed with practical, actionable ways to deepen intimacy, bring back warmth, and feel close again, even if your marriage feels stuck right now. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, for tuning in today. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone, or you can email me as well. And I look forward to next week where we'll do another article and another video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.